So, good day everyone. Last week, we've conducted our orientation with our topic or subject uh, regarding in Specialized Crime Investigation 2 with simulation of interview and interrogation. So, last week also, I've discussed the core syllabus or the course outline covering our preliminary examination, midterm examination, and final examination, as well as the grading system and the mission vision of Trece Martires City College and the College of Criminology. Also, I've already discussed the virtual classroom etiquette for the online teaching. So now, I will be discussing the lesson 1 of Specialized Crime Investigation 2 with simulation of interview and interrogation. Learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, the learners will be able to learn the basic definition of criminal investigation, acquire knowledge skills on legal responsibilities and technical and custodial investigation. 3. Acquires knowledge and skills on the basic duty or obligation of the investigator. Acquire the skills and the application of the tools of criminal investigation. And acquire knowledge on the basic purpose and uses of the 4 method of search. So, investigation. So, it is both an art and science. It is an examination, a study, an analysis, and a research of facts and or circumstances, situations, incidents, and scenarios, either related or not, for the purpose of rendering a conclusion of proof. So, see, investigation, it is the study and the analysis, especially when there is a crime or when there is a circumstances or situations that happen in a specific time and place. So, si investigation, papasok lang siya when there is an incident or circumstances that happen for the purpose of rendering a conclusion and proof. So, historical figures in criminal investigation. Jonathan Wild. He was the most famous thief catcher in 1720s. His methods or technique made popular the logic of employing a thief to catch a thief. Jonathan Wild also conceived the idea of charging for locating and returning stolen property to its rightful owner. Wild Henry Fielding, an Englishman who wrote a novel entitled Tom Jones and was appointed as magistrate or sheriff for the areas of Westminsters and Middle Age London. He was the creator of the Bow Street Runners while he was the magistrate. Henry Fielding formed a group of officers attached to Bow Street Court and not in uniform performing criminal investigative functions. Sir John Fielding, the younger brother of Henry Fielding, who took over the control of Bow Street Court in 1753. His investigators were then called Bow Street Runners and be effective because of his came quite personal guidance despite the fact that he was blind. Sir John Fielding introduced the practice of developing paid informants, printing wanted notices, employing criminal raids, and bearing firearms and handcuffs even though he's struggling for his disability, which is being a blind person. Eugene Francois Vidocq, he was a criminal who turned Paris investigator. He is a former convict who became a notorious thief catcher in France. He is credited as the founder of Lazarette, France National's detective organization. He made popular the concept of set a thief to catch a thief. He introduced the concept of Trade Protection Society, which is a forerunner of our present-day credit card system. Eugene Vidocq also uses credit card for a fee. And any owner of the shop or business's establishment could obtain particulars concerning financial solvency of new customers. Since ang gagamitin nga po is credit card system. Si Eugene Vidocq ang nagsimula ng paggamit ng credit card as a use in business production or any business transaction. He created a squad of ex-convicts to aid the Paris police in crime investigation. Next, Sir Robert Peale, the founder and chief organizer of London Metropolitan Police, the Scotland Yard. He reiterated the idea of creating sizable police force in his recommendations, which led to the passage of the Metropolitan Police Act. So, Sir Robert Peale, all the principles that we are using in policing system is under the contribution of Sir Robert Peale. And he was the first person or the founder of a police force that uses a uniform police officers. Next, in 1852 in USA, Alan Kirkenton, he is the America's most famous private investigator and founder of criminal investigation in US. He established the practice of handwriting examination in American courts and promoted a plan to centralize criminal identification record. Kate Wayne is the first woman detective in history of criminal investigation hired by Pinkerton Agency. Although he is a woman, he manifests the attribute or the capabilities and skills of a person to be a detective individual or a detective woman. Alphonse Bertillon, a French police clerk who introduced and established the first systematic identification system based on anthropometrical signalement or anthropometry. He is considered as the founder of criminal identification. So, in your fingerprint, si Alphonse Bertillon also introduced the measurement of the body. So, I hope that you are familiar with Alphonse Bertillon. Then, Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle introduced the Sherlock Holmes. Si Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle, popularizes the scientific criminals investigation by creating the fictional detective. So those fictional detective was formed by Arthur Conan Doyle. Francis Galton, an Englishman who published a study on classifying fingerprints while other scientists were studying fingerprints and their biological nature. Galton recognized their uniqueness and potentiality or significance in criminal identification. He also said that our fingerprint is not exactly alike. We are unique in our own, we are unique or we have a unique fingerprint patterns. Kaya po, lahat po, pag nakakommit ka ng crime, na kinuhanan ka ni fingerprints, kung ano yung fingerprint mo, ikaw at ikaw lang din po ang lalabas sa investigation. Hindi po pwedeng ibang tao because no two fingerprints are exactly alike. Next, Dr. Paul Kirk. He is an American criminalist who headed the Department of Criminalistics at the University of California in USA. Next, Special Crime Investigation. Special Crime Investigation deals with the study of major crimes based on the application of special investigative techniques. It is also the study of concentrates more on physical evidence, its collection, handling, identification, and preservation in coordination with the various criminalists in the crime laboratory. Since special crime investigation, what makes it special? It's because the crime happened needs a deeper analysis or deeper understanding or deeper studying of in the crime happened. Why? Kasi kailangan po nating malaman or imbestigahang maigi kung ano ba ang nangyari sa crime na yon. And gumagamit tayo ng iba't ibang techniques that will be used to have a detailed ideas kung ano ba yung crime and kung ano yung naging epekto or ano yung causes ng isang crime. Next, investigation. The collection of the facts to accomplish the threefold aim. And what are those threefold aim? To identify the guilty party, to locate the guilty party, and to provide evidence of his guilt. Nandito po yung associative evidence natin, yung that links the person to the crime. So in investigation, once na nagkaroon po tayo ng crime sa isang crime scene area, kailangan po ma-identify si guilty party. Ma-identify kung may witness ba na nakakita or wala. To locate the guilty party, bakit kailangan nating i-locate si guilty party? For us to have a clear mindset and to have a clear proof in concluding the evidence. Then providing evidence of his guilt, kung paano po natin siya bibigyan ng kung paano natin ibibigay sa kanya ang naging violation niya. Kasi hindi po tayo pwedeng magbigay doon ng, for example, may crime na nangyari, hindi po natin agad pwedeng sabihin murder yan. Unless meron tayong proof na murder yan. Hindi po natin siya pwedeng bigyan ng iba't ibang crime o hindi natin siya pwedeng patawan na iba't ibang crime without knowing or without having a proof na kung ano ba yung ginawa niyang crime. Next, qualities of investigator. First is perseverance. Perseverance, it is the continuous being a confident and have the courage or continuous plan despite of difficulties. Na kahit may mga problema tayo, may mga circumstances na pinagdadaanan, we continue or we face it in our own little way. Next, endurance. Ability to deal with pain or suffering for a long time. Kahit na nahihirapan tayo, nandun pa rin yung ability natin na mag-pursue o gawin or ma-reach yung goal natin. Next, incorruptible honesty and integrity. As an investigator, you have to be honest. Especially, hindi tayo pwedeng kumampi. For example, kamag-anak natin, hindi natin pwedeng kampihan si kamag-anak natin na nakagawa ng kasalanan. Kailangan maging honest tayo at maging fair tayo sa kanila kasi we have a fair and just doon sa batas natin. Keen power of observation and description, courage, working knowledge of criminal law, evidence, criminal procedure, and penal special laws. Hindi po tayo pwede maging investigator o pwedeng mag-conduct ng investigation without knowing, without the knowledge in criminal law, evidence, criminal procedure, and penal special laws. Why? Kasi po ano ibibigay natin, ano sasabihin natin sa kanila, anong crime ang nakomit nila. Supposedly, if we have the knowledge, alam natin kung ano yung na-violate nila. As a criminology student, you have the knowledge in criminal law, evidence, criminal procedure, and penal special laws. Na kapag lalabas kayo, may nakita kayo, under ano yan, ganyan-ganyan. Alam ko kung ano yung kasalanan niya, nakakomit yan ng ganitong crime, ng ganyang crime under under Rule 113 of ganang-ganan. Pwede po nating sabihin yun kasi we have the knowledge. But if we don't have the knowledge, paano po tayo magiging isang investigator? And paano tayo magiging good investigator kung hindi natin mismo kayang sabihin yung crime na nagawa nila? Kahit simpleng crime, kahit simple knowledge, pwede natin siyang sabihin. Hindi kailangan ng sobrang galing mo, hindi mo kailangan na ikaw yung pinakamagaling sa lahat. Ang kailangan lang natin, we have the knowledge and familiarization with the crime happened. Next, sense of justice and fair play. The power to read between the lines. Meaning, we have the power to understand what other really means. For example, merong isang tao dyan, nagsasabi siya, hindi niya ma-express ng ayos. You have the power to read between the lines. Dapat, as an investigator, alam mo kung ano dapat yung gusto niyang i-point out. Especially, kapag mga evidence lang ang nandyan. You have the power to read between the lines. Hindi, nakakita ka dyan ng kutsilyo. Anong meron sa kutsilyong yan? Possible na murder yan. Possible na iba, hindi yan magiging ibang crime kung hindi naman pwedeng pwede siyang maging physical injuries, depende sa ginagawa sa'yo. Pero kung may kutsilyo dyan, understood na ang masasabi mo is murder yan. And that is the power to read between the lines. Pero not all the time na makikita ka dyan ng kutsilyo, isasabihin mo na murder. Meron din po tayo mga elements na kailangan i-consider para magpatunayan natin na murder siya. Next, working knowledge of martial arts and firearms proficiency. Since since you are a criminology student, you have your martial arts and have a firearms proficiency. Next, phases of special crime investigation. The preliminary investigation involves the first exposure of the criminal offense to the investigative effort. It cannot be emphasized too strongly that this step is vital to the success of the investigation. The preliminary investigation serves as the foundation of the case. The outcome serves as the foundation of the case. The outcome of the preliminary investigation is governed by the passage of time. In preliminary examination, it is the foundation of the case and also answer what was there a witness in the crime. Since it is the foundation, it is the initial action of the police officer in conducting an investigation. Next, can the suspect be named? And is a clear suspect method of operation present? Next, in-depth investigation or follow-up investigation. So it follows the initial leads stemming from the preliminary examination. It begins with a general examination of all facts, leads, and other types of information secured during the preliminary investigation. Next, trace and locate the evidence. So in follow-up investigation, it answers the questions: was the crime scene possessed by proper manner? Or if the suspect was arrested, was the arrest legally competent? Since it is the next step in preliminary examination. Next, the concluding investigation or the final investigation. The concluding investigation is the final stage, is the direct outgrowth of the previous two stages. The investigating officer works closely with the prosecuting fiscal for the preparation of the case and prove by evidence the guilt of the suspect. Since concluding investigation, we have now the foundation of the case, the follow-up of the case. Now the concluding investigation, this is proving the evidence of the guilt of the suspect. Since we had traced the suspect under follow-up investigation and we have the foundation of the crime under preliminary investigation. Now, in concluding investigation, lahat po ng nadaanang stage, kung ano po yung mga process nila, magiging conclusion na lang po pagdating po sa final stage. Significance of reconstructing the past. First, people. People are social beings and information on them can usually found in the possession of family, relatives, work or business associates, and others who share their recreational interests. It can also be picked up accidentally through those who were witness to or the victim of a crime. The careful investigator identifies and exploits all potential sources. Some people will talk willingly and some will be reluctant to disclose what they know. And yes, some people will disclose what they know for their own safety. But some other can be the witness also, especially kung kamag-anak mo yung nakita. Kung kamag-anak ka nung suspect, ay nung biktima. Na kung kamag-anak ka ni victim at alam mo kung ano yung pangyayari, possible na maging witness ka. Lahat ng tao malapit dun sa pinangyarihan can be considered as witness. Pero meron lang po talagang ayaw magsalita. Sabi nga, some people will talk willingly and some will be reluctant to disclose what they know. Kasi po, natatakot din sila sa kanilang buhay. Natatakot din sila na baka may gawin yung family ng suspect kapag naglabas sila or nagsabi sila ng nalalaman nila. Next, physical evidence. Any object of a material nature is potential physical evidence. The scientific specialist which undertake most for examination of physical evidence, use forensic medicine, chemistry, and criminalistics. The purpose of it is to answer the questions arises during the conduct of trial investigation that may lead in solving cases. Physical evidence is very important, especially sa crime scene. Physical evidence will be the strongest evidence kapag po nagpunta na tayo ng korte. Si physical evidence po, nandyan po, it answers the questions being arises during the conduct of trial and investigation. Kasi kung ano yung means na ginamit mo sa pagpatay, yun din ay sa paggawa ng crime, yun po yung magiging basis nila para magkaroon ka ng magiging basis nila sa iyo para madiin ka sa kaso. At para maging malakas naman ang kaso on behalf of the victim. Next, records. Records are a form of physical evidence. However, they receive separate treatment because they are widely scattered, voluminous, and have specialists devoting full time to their storage and retrieval. So, si record is very important. It is also a form of physical evidence, but in record, lahat po dapat ay kailangang i-preserve natin. Lahat po ay kailangang i-record para po for the next, para po sa cases na i-file natin, we have now the records. Kasi hindi lang po pwedeng nagkaroon ka ng case, kailangan po lahat ng cases na na-file is being documented. Kasi po pag hindi po siya na-documented, baliwala po ang kaso, especially kung undergoing po yung case natin. Next, elements of managing special crime investigation. So first is the initial investigation, case screening, then continuing investigation, then for number 4 or letter D, police-prosecutor relation. In police-prosecutor relation, there is a case being filed. Now, si letter E, investigative monitoring system. Since we have the filed case, now we have the power to monitor or to have an investigation regarding to the crime or regarding to the case being filed by the prosecutor or by the police officers. So, that will be all for lesson 1 of our preliminary examination. And for our next meeting, for the next discussion, if you kindly have an advanced reading in 3 tools of criminal investigation, even though I know na you have already discussed it in fundamentals of criminal investigation, you need also to study it. Kahit na meron kayong knowledge, kailangan hindi lang po kasi marami din sa atin na napag-aralan na nakakalimutan pa. Kaya kailangan po continuous po yung learning natin. And that will be all. Thank you and God bless.